Awesome. Well, Andrew, welcome to Kicking Tables. I'm glad you could be with us tonight. You have Magical Unicorn Quest coming to Kickstarter on April 15th. And so everyone loves magic, everyone loves unicorns. So tell us about the Magical Unicorn Quest. What kind of game is this and how
Yeah.
do you play it?
Yes, Magical Unicorn Quest is a game for 2 to 6 players. It is a family-friendly game, and basically the idea of the game is you are a adventurer and you are going through the magical forest searching for unicorns. There are 2 unicorns that live in this forest. There's a golden unicorn and a majestic unicorn. You have to find both of them and then successfully get them into your team stable to win the game. I emphasize team because you have a teammate to your right
Okay.
and a teammate to your left. And so how it
Hmm.
works is there's some take that elements, there's some set collection elements to the game, and hand management are probably your big 3 elements to the game.
Okay.
And it works great having 2 people, one to your right and one to your left, as it allows you to work with someone to try and win the game. So a game will end up with 2 winners. So if you're playing a three
Right.
person
Okay.
game, there'll be 2 winners and 1 loser. And then there's a 2 player variant where you just have your own stable.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So tell me, where did the idea for this come up? Did you come up with the idea for the game first and then add the magical unicorns, or were you like set on making a magical unicorn game? What was the inspiration and the process behind that?
The inspiration in the process was I'm trying to create a company that will launch several more games down the line. And
Okay.
I'm trying to create it that it's family friendly games. So I'm trying to create games that the parents like to play and the kids like to play.
Okay.
And so the idea of this game was to kind of do something with unicorns. I like unicorns. Everyone likes unicorns.
Yeah. Who
They're
doesn't like
great.
unicorns?
Yeah, who doesn't like unicorns? Exactly. And so I wanted to do something that was fun, exciting, something that would get parents around the table and kids around the table at the same time. And it really hits that element. It's a great game. Even if you aren't a family and you don't have kids and you're a teenager or a college student, the game is still a ton of fun. I have play tested with all sorts of different age groups, and everyone is really liking the game.
Well,
So,
you mentioned a two-player variant.
yes.
How does that differ from the main game if you're playing with 3 or 4 people?
So the main game, you have a partner with you. So the take that element of it is very minimal because your partner is also working with you to build up your stable. So instead of having a stable right in front of you, the stables are to your sides.
Right.
And so I will have a stable with player 2 if I'm player 1, and I'll have a stable with player 3. And in a 3-person game, player 2 and player 3 have a joint stable. So I can win with 2 unicorns on my right or 2 unicorns on my left. And so it really creates this like element of working with someone to build up your stable versus like a true like just destroy someone. And so there's always a good chance that you can come back. It's really hard to team up on one person too, because like if I have a golden unicorn sitting in a stable to my right, player to my right doesn't want to add the majestic to win the game. So it has really great elements from
It's
that
it's
design
shifting
standpoint.
alliances every time a
Right. There's a
unicorn
lot
moves
of
around.
alliance shifting. So there isn't like a true alliance where you're gonna be like, I'm just gonna work with this one person because then all I have to do is sabotage the stable across from me, and all of a sudden now you have to work with me. And so it's like
Right.
so there's a lot of like shifting alliances. I've never really seen people actually create alliances. It doesn't really seem to go far enough or long enough, or there's no real desire to. So it works great from that perspective.
But the two-player variant, you just have one
Yes,
stable in front of you then.
yes. So the game does still play really well with 2 players. There is a little bit more of a take that element to it. And so if that's not something you like, then okay. If you want a strong take that game, you can just play with single stables. You
Okay.
can play that with more than 2 people too. So if you have 3, 4, or 5, you can all just have your own stable.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then that that ups the take that element to the game. But if you don't want that, playing a shared stables really reduces it.
That's right up
It's
Tico's alley. Tico loves
I,
take
I
that.
love to take that stuff. I usually get screwed because of it, but it's nice that you can have that because when you are playing with younger kids and stuff like that, you want to be able to offer that shared victory. If I'm playing with
Right.
my 9-year-old daughter, as much as I'd like to just crush her sometimes, sometimes you gotta let them have share a little in the victory.
Right. Well, and also it kind of also lightens the downside too. So like if a bad card gets placed on you, then it's not just me that's getting attacked, it's me and someone else that's getting attacked. And so you
Yeah,
don't feel like you're being
targeted.
targeted
Right.
Yeah.
because they're targeting the stable and not you.
Okay. Well, that's actually nice too, because yeah, I'm constantly targeted. Sean's always mean to me.
Oh,
So it's
okay, Tico.
yeah, it's a nice element to be able to sort of mitigate some of the downside of the take that effect. So that is
Right.
kind of. I would love to know what are some of your favorite cards in the game?
So I'm a big fan of the unicorns. The majestic unicorn is really cool. Love the artwork for that.
Yeah.
I love all the bean cards. They're just really well drawn. The artwork is amazing on the cards. I mean, you have the newer cards. You have like a white rabbit. That's excellent drawing. There's a toe that I'm really liking. As far as potions go, I like the unicorn food. I think that's just kind of fun and cute, and you get some cotton candy, gumdrops, hay. It's everything that like a unicorn I would imagine would eat. And then we have a new card that's coming off the Kickstarter, which is the Witch's Brew, and that's really amazing artwork on that card too. Um, and then some of the expansions too have really cool artwork. There's a fairy expansion that's called the Mystical Gear expansion, and that adds fairies and trolls. And
Okay.
basically, what that does is it allows your mystical beings to have additional abilities. So the fairies are going around enchanting ordinary gear with these special powers. So like you can put like a cloak of beauty on, and then all of a sudden you can start attracting other mystical beings from their stable to yours, or you can put a dragon hide on one of your mystical beings, and that prevents them from leaving your stable. Or if they'll have additional abilities where it's like a wand of lightning, instead of doing their normal ability, they can cast out and take out mystical beings from someone else's stable.
So as you're
And
playing this game, you're actually it's almost like an RPG where you're building up these, I guess, heroes.
Right, yeah, there is some of that where it is a little bit of a mechanics of like that set collection where you want to get multiples, you're adding gear, you're adding armor, you're adding cloaks and weapons, and then they're going out and they can just be a lot more powerful and a lot more helpful. And then we have another expansion that's coming out, which is called the Dragon's Lair expansion. That used to be a not safe for work expansion, 18 plus, but we have tempered that to 14 plus. So there's no like bad words, there's no profanity, but there is a little bit of suggestive imagery to it.
Well, doesn't an
And they,
NSFW deck kind of go against your family
it
oriented
does.
gaming
It does.
idea?
And so we kind of scrapped that. We're like, well, there's people that like it, and then we're like, well, it doesn't fit the theme.
Right.
And so we changed it to like a 14 or 13 plus. So it's still very family friendly.
Okay.
And basically what that adds is it adds a dragon, and basically you can go and loot the dragon's lair, and you find all sorts of like cool potions and magic that you can use. And so it's another
Okay.
more cards that you get, and they're both these are like side decks, so we don't make the forest significantly bigger, which is a great design for them. It only adds the bean card to the deck, and then there's a side deck. So as you're like drawing for the unicorns, that doesn't add a significant amount more time to the game, but it
Right.
does add more gameplay and strategy elements to the game.
Okay, that's cool. Now, I'd like to learn about the game itself during development. Is the game what it was you originally imagined it to be now, or did it start out as something completely different? Like, how did the game change throughout its life, from concept to completion?
I think the biggest change was doing the joint stables. It was initially just a single stable where everyone had their own, And the idea was that there would be slightly different cards. So you'd have mystical beings, and I like the idea of building them up. So like you can get multiple of the same ones, and then their abilities become better. So that stayed pretty constant throughout. As far as playtesting goes, a lot of the abilities were changed over and over and over again because some were too powerful and some were not strong enough. And so we had a bunch of changes from a design standpoint of each card. And then the biggest change I mentioned was the shared stables, which really adds a new element. And it's not something I see in many other card games where you have a joint victory with someone else,
right?
Or a defeat. And so it really adds a really cool design and really cool element that I don't see too often.
Yeah, it is definitely unique having the two winners. I'm curious how, in course of the game, you decide which partner you're going to try to win with. I guess it all depends on who gets the first unicorn. Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, the unicorn's like you get it into your stable and you think you got it safe with like a Hulk card or a unicorn thief or some magic to protect it, and then it's just gone. I mean, they don't last super long, and so a lot of times who you end up being friends with or allying with is not due to you deciding who you want to ally with, but it's more deciding upon your opponent. And if they put a lot of bad creatures in one of your stables to your right, then all of a sudden I'm just be allies with the person to my left because I don't want to try and worry about getting rid of them. I'm just going to work on the stable on my other side.
I gotcha. Yep.
Right. So it's like if the three of us are in a game and I really just don't want to be friends with Sean, I can just start tossing all his bad stuff from the stable to my left, and next thing you know, he's not going to be working with me, and or I just toss in between you guys, and you're both trying to work with me, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to win. I'm the winner of one of you two because neither of you are working on that stable.
Gotcha. So, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it's more of.
It's very dynamic as to who's going to work with who.
Deciding who you work with and you deciding who you work with.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. So, you mentioned that you have a few expansions coming. Are those going to be available during your Kickstarter? Are those stretch goals or are they add-ons?
Nope. I am not doing too much additional content for stretch goals. So the deck is designed. It plays well. I don't really like it when people just toss in 50 additional cards and you start playing with the Kickstarter exclusive or all these additional add-ons, and you find out you didn't like the game, and then you go and just remove all those add-ons, and you're like, wow, the game's actually really well balanced and a lot of fun. I've had that happen to me with way too many Kickstarters that I've purchased. And so a lot of our add-ons are going to be improving the components. So like our first add-on is to do like Black Core, 310-gram cards, which are like the high-quality cards. Yeah. Our next add-ons are going to be to do like spot UVing on the box, and then if we get enough, we can do like foil stamping because we're doing this big gold unicorn, and it'd be sweet just to get like a foil press stamp onto it.
Nice.
And so right. And so a lot of our initial upgrades are going just to be make the game look the best it can and make the game feel the best it can.
Some really nice quality upgrades.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's like I feel like people just toss those stretch goals, even though it's going to be in the game regardless, because they don't tell you everything that's already in the game. So it's like, if we hit these stretch goals, look, you got more content, but it was already there to begin with if you didn't hit the stretch goal. So
yeah,
that is awesome. Well, Andrew, we want to do something just to get to know you a little bit better outside of your game. And so we have 8 questions for you. This is
excellent.
It's a lightning round question, so just answer the first thing that comes to mind, or think about it for a little bit if you want, but just 8 simple questions just to get to know you. So imagine all these questions are surrounding gaming or your game night. Okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
All right. The game you most want to add to your collection.
Ooh, that's a good one. Wow, I feel like my collection gets larger every day. it's less of what game do I want, what game do I want to get rid of. Let's go with Everdale. I haven't had that one. I've heard the game is great and beautiful. I love their components. I've seen it, but I
Yeah.
don't own it.
I've heard good things about that one as well. I have also never played that one. What's the last game you played?
The last game I played was Blood Rage by
Oh,
Simon.
awesome.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. I started painting the miniatures for it, and they started turning out pretty cool. So I'm like, well, now I gotta play the game with everyone.
Nice. What's the last game you purchased?
So the last game I purchased would have been maybe that was Wingspan. I think it.
Nice.
Nope. I
No?
purchased. Nope. I purchased after that. I purchased Brass Birmingham.
Okay.
Okay.
Competitive or cooperative?
I usually do more cooperative games. My wife
Nice.
is not a big game player, but I can always convince her to play a cooperative game with me.
I
And
love
so
co-op games.
I'm becoming a really big co-op fan. We've done like the Robinson Crusoe, we've done all sorts of co-op games, and
Nice.
so we're a big fan of those.
What's your favorite childhood game?
Oh, probably Monopoly. I'm probably one of the few people that actually say they
Actually
like
likes Monopoly.
Monopoly. But
That's fair.
when I play by the exact rules, and the game when you play by the exact rules is like the bully kicking on the beating up the person that's already down on the ground, and like for some reason that can be enjoyable every once in a while. I don't play the game often, but I guess childhood I only had 3 games. Is that Risk or chess? Or pretty
Right.
much the 3 games I played in my childhood.
What is the game you always win?
I'm actually pretty decent at Euro games.
Okay.
I can't say I always win them, but I probably put up the best fight in Euro style games.
Okay. Marvel or DC?
Definitely Marvel. Yeah.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Okay. That's it.
Excellent.
That's just to
Eight-
get to
eight
know
simple
you.
questions.
That's it. So it's been a pleasure having you on, Andrew. But before we let you go, give us the elevator pitch for Magical Unicorn Quest. Tell us why people should back this game.
Yeah, so Magical Unicorn Quest has a little bit for everyone. It has new components where you can work with people to try and find unicorns within the stable and add them to your stable. It's a really great game for families, friends, college students, and I highly recommend it for everyone.
Fair enough. And it hits Kickstarter on April 15th. So everybody go check it out. There is a link down below in the description. So go check out Magical Unicorn Quest and give them some support. Andrew, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you, too. It's been great talking and meeting you guys as well.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. It was great talking. I want you to support OMG Nexus. They are an amazing podcast group. The link is down below, so check them out, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you at my Kickstarter on April 15th.